2 years ago, I, Nathan, a 37-year-old mechanical engineer with a not-so-secret passion for financial planning, made what I thought was a simple, logical suggestion to my then-fiancée, Emily. We should consider a prenuptial agreement. Her reaction was immediate, explosive. "We're not exactly swimming in money," she exclaimed. Her voice caught somewhere between disbelief and accusation, as if prenups were reserved only for billionaires with private islands and oil empires. I tried to reassure her, to explain that this wasn't about wealth or mistrust. It was about being thoughtful, about protecting the life each of us had built before coming together. But her face had already hardened. She wasn't hearing me. At the time, Emily was everything I wasn't: impulsive, charming, unpredictable. We met through a friend, and I was immediately captivated by her wild spirit. She once serenaded me in a diner parking lot on our first date, off-key and full of laughter, twirling under neon lights like she didn't care who was watching. That kind of energy is infectious. I fell fast, maybe too fast. Within a year, I proposed on a misty trail in the Blue Ridge Mountains. She cried. I got choked up too, though partly because I had just tripped over a rock and nearly face-planted into a proposal scene that could have gone viral for all the wrong reasons. Still, it was magical. Friends said we were perfect together, opposites that balanced each other out. But beneath that surface-level harmony, subtle tensions started to emerge. I'd always been the type of guy who finds joy in listening to finance podcasts while sipping coffee, who spends weekends discussing ETF performance with my barista, poor guy, and who tracks expenses with precision of a Swiss watch. Emily, meanwhile, lived like the moment was all that mattered: big emotions, dramatic gestures, and zero budgeting. About 6 months before the wedding, I brought up the prenup again over a quiet dinner at my place. "Emily," I said gently, "I think we should talk about a prenuptial agreement." She paused, her spoon suspended in the air like she'd been caught mid-theft. "A prenup?" she said, her tone defensive. "Nathan, we're not rich. Why would we need that?" I smiled, trying to keep the air light. "It's not about being rich. It's just smart. You've worked hard. I've worked hard. It protects both of us." Her expression shifted. First confusion, then hurt, and finally a kind of indignant fury. "So you think I'm after your money?" she snapped. I was stunned. That wasn't what I'd said at all. But there was no room for nuance anymore. She'd built her own narrative and settled into it like a warm coat. A week later, while we were splitting a pizza, she casually dropped into conversation that she still had $92,000 in student loans. "It's been such a weight on me," she said with a practiced sigh. I nodded sympathetically. That sounded like a lot to carry. Then came the moment that froze my spine. She smiled, an oddly careful, too sweet smile. "When we're married, maybe we can handle it together. Combine finances. Clear it faster." I blinked. "Together? What do you mean?" She shrugged, trying to play it cool. "Well, with your income, it'd be easier. That's what couples do, right? They support each other." My appetite vanished. Suddenly, the pizza in my hand tasted like manipulation. I didn't react, not outwardly, but my brain had already started piecing things together. Her explosive reaction to the prenup, her sudden openness about debt, her suggestion that my income could become her solution. That night, I sat down and reviewed my finances, a habit I'd let slip a bit. Since my early 20s, I'd been relentlessly frugal. No lavish vacations, no shiny new toys. I clipped coupons, drove a paid-off car, and still wore sneakers from college that were long past their prime, but broken in just right. Over time, my discipline paid off. My nest egg had grown to just over $450,000, tucked away in retirement accounts, mutual funds, and some safe, slow-growth stocks. Nothing flashy, just a product of quiet diligence and long-term thinking. Emily knew I was financially responsible, but I'd never share the exact numbers. Then, recently, in a casual moment, I had let slip that I was feeling comfortable. That single word seemed to change everything. Suddenly, our conversations were about our future and our goals and how we should share everything, including, of course, her mountain of debt. Then came the final blow. One night, while she was out, her phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. I didn't mean to snoop, but the message that lit up on the screen wasn't subtle. Girl, lock it down. If he's got that kind of money and still wears thrift store jackets, he's probably loaded. Seal the deal, get him to cover those loans. Play it clever. Emily's reply made my stomach twist. I'm working on it. Just need to dodge this prenup drama. I stared at the screen, frozen. That wasn't a misunderstanding. That wasn't hurt feelings. That was strategy. I didn't confront her. I didn't throw a fit or demand explanations. I took a night to process. Then I packed a small bag, left a note, and walked out. The message I sent her was short. I saw the text. I deserve honesty. This isn't going to work. Take care. What followed was a hurricane of messages. Angry ones, tearful ones, manipulative ones. Even a Venmo request labeled emotional damages. I almost sent her $1 with a note. Thanks for the performance. That was over a year ago. Now I'm dating someone new. Someone who values independence, who manages her own finances, who sees partnership as a choice, not a financial strategy. As for Emily, I've heard she's engaged again, this time to someone who, apparently, finds prenups unromantic. I give it 2 years before she starts floating the idea of paying off her loans together. Here's what I've learned. A prenuptial agreement isn't an insult. It's not a bet against love. It's respect. For yourself, for your partner, for the life you've worked to build. If someone bristles at the idea of financial clarity, maybe they're not protecting love. They're protecting their access to your assets. And if they sing karaoke in public on your first date, sometimes that spontaneous charm is real. Sometimes it's just the opening number in a long con.